It is 90 degrees outside, and inside it is not much better. Your air conditioner has been running all afternoon, and your electric meter is spinning, and somewhere far away, a company is getting richer off your discomfort. My name is Amos Freeman. People call me Deacon. I was raised on a sharecropping farm in the Mississippi Delta by grandparents who had no money and no store to run to. They kept cool, kept fed, and kept lit without a single wire running to that house. None of it was hard. Most of it was free. Let me show you. Here is the first thing you have got to understand. Your house is not built to keep you. It is built to keep you paying. I do not say that to scare you. I say it because it is true, and nobody who profits from it is ever going to tell you. Think about the thing you do without thinking. You walk into a dark room, and your hand goes to the wall, and the light comes on. You are hot, so you turn a dial, and a machine somewhere in the wall starts to hum. You are hungry, so you open a cold box that has been running day and night since the day you moved in. Every one of those small comforts has a wire on the other end of it, and that wire runs straight to a company you have never met, in a building you will never see, and every flip of a switch puts a little more in their pocket. Now let me tell you about the house I came up in. My grandparents had a place down in the Delta, board walls and a tin roof, and there was not one wire running into it. Not one. No meter on the side, no bill in the mailbox. And do not picture some sad, dark cabin where folks suffered. That is not how it was. That house stayed cool in August when the sun would cook you in the yard. The food kept, the lamps burned warm of an evening. The water ran cold and clean. My grandmother raised 7 children in those rooms, and not a one of them ever paid a soul for the comfort of being in there. They were not rich, they were not lucky. They simply knew how to make a house do its work without help. The difference between that house and yours is not money. It never was. It was knowledge. They knew things. You were taught to plug in instead. So how did it happen? How did a whole country forget how to keep its own house? I have thought about that a long time, and I am going to tell you what I believe, and you can chew on it yourself. It was not always this way. My grandfather was a young man, and most folks around him, black and white both, still kept their own food, drew their own water, cooled their own rooms. They had to, there was no money for anything else, and there was no man coming around to sell you the easy way. Then, somewhere after the war, that started to change. The lines came out to the country, the poles went up along the roads, and with them came a salesman. And the salesman had a smile, and he had a promise. He said, "You do not have to work so hard anymore. Plug this in, plug that in, let the machine do it." And it sounded like a kindness. Lord, it sounded like freedom. But understand what they were really selling. They were not selling you a cold box or a fan. They were selling you forgetting. Because once you plug in, you stop doing. And once you stop doing, your children never learn it. And once your children never learn it, the knowledge is gone in one generation, and then they have got you. They have got you for good. You cannot go back to what you never learned. That is the trade they made for you, and they made it without ever once asking. Nobody sat you down and said, "Here is what you are giving up." They just handed you the switch and took the knowing in return. 2 generations later, here you are, scared to climb in your own attic, paying a stranger every month for the comfort your grandmother gave her babies for free. That is not progress. That is a leash, and most of you were born already wearing it. Now let me take you out to my grandparents' place, because this is where you start to see how it was done. The first thing you have to get into your head is this. Everything they used was free, and everything they used was already there. The earth, the air, the water, the shade of a tree, the cool that sits down low in the ground. They did not buy any of it, and they did not plug any of it in, because you cannot put a meter on the ground or charge a man for the breeze. That right there is the whole secret, and it is why nobody ever taught it to you. There is no money in free. Let me give you the simplest piece of it, and you already know it in your bones, even if you never thought about it. Dig down into the ground a few feet in the hottest part of summer and put your hand in that dirt. It is cool and damp all year round. The sun beats the top of the earth, but it cannot reach down. Down low, the ground holds the same steady temperature it held in spring, and it holds it in January too. My grandparents knew that. Everybody's grandparents knew that. And they built their whole way of living around one plain fact: the sun cannot change. Cool sits low and heat rises up. That is not a saying. That is not a notion. That is the way the world is put together, and it was put together that way long before there was a power company to charge you for ignoring it. Heat goes up and out. Cool stays down. Once you understand that one thing, you can keep food cold, keep a room livable, and keep your water sweet, all without spending a dime. My grandmother did it every single day of her life, and never once thought it was clever. To her, it was keeping house. So let me show you the first thing they built on that, because it is the one that will surprise you most. They had no refrigerator, and they didn't need one. What they had was a box dug down into the ground in the coolest, shadiest corner of the yard, lined with stone, with a heavy wood lid over it. My grandfather called it the ground box. Some folks had a little spring house over running water, but the dirt-poor families like mine just had the box, and it worked near as well. Here is what it did. That box sat down in the cool earth I just told you about, 4 feet deep, where the ground holds steady all summer long. Inside that box, on the hottest day of August, when it was 95 degrees in the shade out in the yard, that box held right around 52-54 degrees. Steady, all day, all night. I have stood in that yard sweating through my shirt and reached into that box and felt the cold come up off the butter like it was winter time. My grandmother kept everything in there, milk that stayed sweet 4-5 days, butter that never went to oil, a jar of cream kept down there near a week, eggs, greens, a crock of buttermilk, a slab of side meat down in the bottom where it was coldest. She lost almost nothing to spoiling, and she did it on a farm where there was not 1 watt of electricity for 100 miles in any direction. Now think about your refrigerator. It does the same job, holds about that same temperature, and it runs every minute of every day, pulling current, spinning your meter, costing you money while you sleep. That box my grandfather dug ran on nothing. It ran on the cold that was already in the ground, free the day God made it. The difference between the two is not the cold, the difference is the bill. Now let me give you 2 more, quick, because they ran their whole house this way, not just the food. Light first. When the sun went down, my grandmother did not flip a switch. She lit a lamp, a little glass lamp with a wick and a few cents of oil in the bottom. 1 filling of that lamp burned soft and steady for hours. Enough to read the Bible by, enough to do the mending, enough to put 7 children to bed. The whole evening's light cost about a penny, and here is the part nobody tells you. She did not light up the whole house like you do. She carried the 1 lamp with her, room to room, so the light was always where the people were and never wasted on an empty room. You light 100 watts in a kitchen nobody is standing in. She never wasted a single flame. Now water. The well out back drew up water so cold it would ache your teeth straight out of that same cool ground in the dead of August. No pump running, no power, just a bucket and a rope and the strength in your arm. And that water did not just drink. They kept the milk crock sitting in a trough of that well water, and the running cool kept it sweet. And that water never once cost a cent. They washed in it, cooked in it, watered the garden with it. 1 well did the work your water heater, your pump, and your refrigerator do today, and it ran on nothing but a rope. So, look at what we have got. A house that kept its food cold, lit its rooms warm, and ran its water cool, clean, and free through the hottest summer the Delta could throw at it. Not 1 wire, not 1 bill. And it did every one of those jobs as well as the machine you pay for now, and in some ways better. Now, I want you to stop and ask yourself a hard question. If all of this is true, and it is, and if it is this cheap, and it is, then why has nobody ever told you? Why did your own father not teach you? Why is none of this in any manual, any class, any place you might stumble onto it? I will tell you why, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Somebody makes money off your forgetting. Follow it with me. The power company makes money. Every hour your refrigerator hums, every minute your lights burn in an empty room, every machine you plug in to do what the ground and the well and the lamp once did for free. That is money in their hand. They do not sell you comfort. They sell you the bill that comes with it, and the bill never stops. The appliance makers make money. They build you a cold box that runs on current and breaks in 10 years, when my grandfather's ground box ran on dirt and lasted 50. They are not in the business of cold. They are in the business of selling you a new one. The folks who sell you everything else make money too. The fans, the heaters, the little gadgets, the cure for the heat, the cure for the cold, a product for every problem, and most of those problems your grandmother never had because she never bought the thing that caused them. Now hear me close. I am not telling you a group of men sat in a room and planned this against you. I do not believe that, and you should not either. It is simpler and sadder than that. It is just that everybody who profits has one quiet thing in common. Not one of them has any reason in this world to teach you the free way. So they do not. And they have not done it for 50 years now. So let me get useful, because I did not come here just to talk. Here is what you can do this very weekend, and I am going to give it to you plain and in order. Step 1, make yourself a ground box the way my grandfather did, and you do not need a backhoe to do it. Find the shadiest, lowest corner of your yard, the north side, where the sun never sits. Dig a hole 3-4 feet down. If you have got an old cooler or a tin tub, drop it in, pack the dirt back tight around the sides, and put a board over the top. That is it. That hole will hold 50-some degrees through the worst of summer, free forever. Total cost, if you have to buy a tub, is maybe $15. If you have got one in the shed already, it is nothing. Time it takes you, about an hour with a shovel. Put your garden vegetables in it, your jars, your butter, and watch how long they keep. A heavy lid keeps the cold down in there. You just built a refrigerator that has no plug. Step 2 costs you nothing but a little attention, and it will show up on your bill faster than anything. Walk through your house tonight and find everything that is on when nobody is using it, the lights in empty rooms, the little glowing boxes that draw current all night long, sitting there warm even when you turn them off. Unplug them, pull them clean out of the wall, not just off. That phantom draw, the power your house pulls while you sleep, runs near a tenth of your whole bill in most homes, and you are paying it for nothing. Then do what my grandmother did. Light the room you are in, and only that room. Carry the light with you. 10 minutes of walking through your house tonight, and you have already started taking it back. Step 3. Catch your water. Every time it rains, a fortune in clean, soft water runs off your roof and straight down the drain, and you turn around and pay the company for water to put on your garden. That is backward. Set a barrel under the corner of your gutter, the spot where the downspout comes down. A used food-grade barrel runs you $20–25, and one good rain will fill it to the top. Put a screen over it to keep the bugs out, and a spigot near the bottom if you want to get fancy. That water will green your garden, wash your steps, cool the jars in your ground box, and never cost you a cent. My grandmother caught every drop that fell. She said the Lord sent the rain free, and only a fool pays twice for water. Do those 3 things, and I am not telling you a story. You will see it on your next bill in one billing cycle. Not next year, the very next one. Now, I know some of you are sitting there with your arms crossed and you have got a question, and it is a fair one, so let me answer it before you ask. The first thing folks always say is, that sounds dirty. Catching rain in a barrel, keeping food in a hole in the ground? Is that not unsanitary? Will I not make my family sick? No, and I will tell you plain why not. Moving air and running cool keep things clean. It is trapped, still warm air that grows the trouble. My grandmother kept 7 children fed out of that ground box and that rain barrel, and not one of them ever took sick from it. You screen your barrel, you keep your lid shut, you keep things cool, and you are fine. The dirt did not make folks sick. Forgetting how to use it right is the only thing that ever made a soul afraid of it. There is one more thing folks say, and it is the one that makes me a little sad. Somebody will tell you that is fine for a man with a yard down south, but I live in an apartment, I cannot dig a hole. And to that I say, you can still do most of it. You can still unplug what is sleeping. You can still light one room. You can still set a bucket on the fire escape when it rains, and keep your jars in the coolest, lowest corner you have got. The knowing works wherever you are. You just have to want it. I want to leave you with something my grandmother said, sitting on that porch one evening, with the lamp between us, and the whole house dark and cool behind her. I was a boy, and I asked her why we did everything the hard way when other folks had the lines run in. She did not even look up from her mending. She said, "Child, it is not the hard way, it is the free way, and free is the only thing they can never take back from you." I did not understand her then. I have understood her every day since. You do not have to live like I came up. I am not asking you to. I am asking you to remember that you are not as helpless as they made you feel, and to take back one small thing this weekend. Now climb down and tell me in the comments, what is the lowest, coolest corner of your place? How old is your house? Where are you writing from? I read every one. And if this rang true to you, come on back. The next time, I'm going to show you exactly how the old folks kept a house cool through a Delta summer with no machine at all. I will see you there. Take care of your own and stay free now.